Hi, welcome back. Like I said, this will be lesson 2, exam type questions. So by now you must have watched the first lesson, which we were going through the basics of how to deal with conversion factor or conversion rate. Now, before we get started, by now you already know we cannot be doing anything before we actually reset our calculator. So yes, shift, and then you clear, and then you clear all, and then yes, and then AC. Now we can get started. So now we have questions that are extracted from past question papers. Now the first one says Miss Nolan uses a square baking pan with dimensions of 8 inches by 8 inches. By now you already understand that inches, they're an imperial measurement system. So she cuts the brownies in the baking pan into 16 equal sized blocks. Now they gave us the conversion factor here, or the conversion rate, which says that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. And they also tell us that we can use this formula, which says that area of a square is side multiplied by side. Calculate the top surface area of one, this is important, of one of the square brownie blocks in centimeters squared. So because we have been told that our calculations have to be in centimeters squared, we know that the first thing that we have to do is to convert these 8 inches. So with regards to conversion, by now you know that we start by the conversion factor, which is 1 inch is equals to 2.54 centimeters. Like I said, we'll have to convert 8 inches. Are inches on my left or on my right? They're on my left. Therefore, I put them on my left, 8 inches. What do I put on my right? Well, I put an X, so you can essentially put a question mark. Now, the next thing that you have to do, it's the cancellation method, where you have to cancel an X because we won't be needing that. And you can also cancel a 1 because we also won't be needing that. When the numbers sit across from each other, we multiply. When they're on the same side, we divide. So now we are going to say 8 multiplied by 254. And let's go to our calculator. So 8 multiplied 2.54. And let's change that. So it says that we have a 20.32 centimeters. So we know that this baking pan, one of the side, since the dimensions are all equal, one of the side or both the sides, they are essentially 20.32 centimeters because we have converted it from inches. Now let's use this formula. You see, we have used the conversion factor. Now let's use this formula that they gave us. And the formula that they gave us says that, so I'll just write A, area of a square is side multiplied by side. So here we can simply say that the first side, which is also the same as the second side, we are going to multiply by 20.32. And let's see what we have. And by now you have watched the basic functions of using a Casio calculator. You understand that I can simply click multiply. It is essentially doing the same thing. So 3, 2. It took that answer that I had, and that's why it's written answer there, and then it multiplied by 20.32. So the answer says that it's 412.924. Now you might be asking yourself here, why am I not rounding off? Now the reason is simple. Your question paper is always written something like this: round off all your final answers to 2 decimal places unless stated otherwise. What they are saying is that you do not round off anything unless that is a final answer. And also, unless it's stated otherwise. Stated otherwise could be the fact that they are telling you to round off your answer to the whole number or maybe to the nearest something. So that's when then you don't have to round it off to 2 decimal places. But unless they didn't say whether you have to round it off to 3 decimal places or to the whole number, your final answer should always be rounded off to 2 decimal places. This is not the final answer. Why? Because this is the area of the square baking pan. I am yet to calculate the brownies which were baked in that baking pan. And it says that after the brownies were baked, they were cut into what? 16 equal sized blocks. So if you were baking and after baking you cut the brownies that you were baking into 16 equal squares, and the question told me that I need to calculate the area of one of those 16. What am I going to do? This equals all the 16. So in order for me to get the area of one, I simply have to divide by 16. And let's see again. I do not have to go back. I can simply say divide. It will take the answer that I already had, and I say by 16. And now I am going to get a 25.864 centimeter squared. Now I can round this off to two decimal places, and that would essentially be 25.81 centimeter squared. I'll be making a video on rounding off so that you don't struggle with rounding off. Now, this is the question fully answered, but our focus was here, how to convert. Now let's go to the next question. Now the next question basically is about baking milk tarts. So without wasting time, we don't have to read the whole ingredients, but this is what we want to read. Oma intends baking 2 milk tarts. This is important. She intends on baking 2 milk tarts for her friends who will be arriving at 17:30. She uses the ingredients and information below. She can only bake 1 milk tart at a time. While the first milk tart is in the oven, she prepares the second milk tart in order to put it in the oven the moment the first one is taken out. So the question that I would like us to focus on here, it's this one. Why? Because it's asking us to determine how many liters of milk Oma needs to bake the two milk tarts. So now, in order for us to understand how many liters she needs, well, we have to come here, because this is where we are being told that in order to bake one, ingredients and information for one milk tart, she needs 4¼ cups of milk. Now let's first solve this. This should not be scaring you. Why? I told you in your Casio, in the basic functions of using your Casio calculator, by now you already understand how to put a mixed fraction in your calculator. So let's cancel this. You remember, because it's yellow, color-coded yellow, therefore you must first click a shift, and when you click here, you're going to get a mixed fraction. So now I'll put a 4. This will tell us what is 4¼ in a decimal form. Okay, that's not 2. That is a 4. Change, you see? So essentially what they are telling us here is that you need 4 and 2.5 cups of milk. But now the question said, how many liters of milk will Oma need to bake 2? First, let's change this into a volume, or if I may say, into the liters, into milliliters. Why? Because that's what we've been given here. So okay, I cancel the 1 there, but you could already see that there was a 1. So it says 1 cup is equals to 250 milliliters. So let's work with that. Now let's put in a white. Let's invite a white. So the conversion factor, as always, we start with it. It says that 1 cup is equals to 250 milliliters. Remember, I told you you can convert from metric to imperial or imperial to metric, and you can also convert from the same unit of measurement system, which is imperial to which is metric to metric, which is what we are doing here. So here it's not like we are converting from metric to imperial. No, it's just within one system. So here what we are going to do is, what do we have? or what are we converting? Well, we are converting 4.25 cups. So where are they, on my left or on my right? Well, they're on my left. So I'm going to put it here. 25 cups. Do I have anything under milliliters? No, I don't. That's what I'm looking for. And don't get confused. The question said how many liters. The question didn't say how many milliliters, but this is how it works. We are going to first use the conversion factor that they gave us. And having done that, we are then going to use the knowledge that we already have of converting within one system, which is metric. We are going to convert milliliters to liters. So watch so that you can see what I'm talking about. So again, 1 and x must be gone. If they are sitting across, we multiply them. So we're going to say 425 multiplied by 250. Now what do we get when we go to our calculator? Again, you can simply say multiply by 250. And now you're going to get, it says that you're going to get 1062.5 milliliters. The question didn't say you have to give the answer in milliliters. The question said that the answer should be in liters. So now how do we convert milliliters to liters? Also, I have to make a video, full video with regards to converting from metric to metric, because you don't get such conversions metric to metric. You will only get imperial to metric. So metric to metric, you just need to know because they are within one system. So let's do this. Let me put in this one. So 1 liter is equals to 1,000 milliliters in metric to metric. Now I have here 1,062.5 milliliters. So now I am going to put them on my right, because that is where I have milliliters. 1,062.5 milliliters. What am I going to put on my left? And x. Again, as the cancellation go, x goes, 1 goes, they are on the same side. What do? We have to divide them. But don't forget the bottom one by the top one. So I'm going to say 1,062.5 divide by 1,000. And what do I get? Again, I can just come here and say divide. That's why you have to go and watch how to use your Casio, because it will become easy for you. There is no back and forth. So the answer says that it's 1.0625, but now it's liters. But we haven't fully answered the question. Why? Because the question said determine how many liters of milk Oma needs to bake two milk tarts, not one. So essentially we just have to take the answer and multiply it by 2. So 1.0625 liters multiplied by 2, I am going to get, so I can just come here and say multiply by 2, I am going to get 2.125 liters. Now this is your final answer. You can say it's 2.13 liters of milk. And now continuing to the next one. And the ones that we are not doing is because we are not focusing on them. So here we have a lot of conversions. We have a lot of exchange rate, rather should I say. But like I said, it's the same thing. As long as you see an equal sign in the middle, you know we are talking about conversion factors. So let's say the statement says Joy needs a laptop which costs 5,999. She asked for the money from her sister who lives in the United States. Remember what I said about the United States of America? So in the first video, the exchange rate was as follows. So the exchange rate says that 1 rand 1 South African rand is actually equal to 0.05 US dollars. So the question that I would like us to focus on, it's this one, 2.2.3. Joy's sister gave her 300 US dollars to buy the new laptop. She stated that the money would be enough to purchase the laptop. So she stated that this money would be enough. We don't know that. Let's prove whether it is enough or not. That's why it says verify showing all calculations if Joy's sister is correct. So now the first thing again, conversion factor, conversion factor, conversion factor. It says that a rand is equal to 0.05 USD. Now, what do I have or what am I converting? Well, I am converting 300 USDs. I want to see whether 300 USDs indeed they do reach or they do equal 5,999 or they are more than it because she said that they are enough. Where are they? They are on my right. So it's 300 USD. What do I have here? I have to put an X because that's what I'm looking for. So now here I have to cancel. First, I have to cancel X and then cancel. If they are on the same side, you have to divide them. So now again, you remember how we divide the bottom by the top. So it's 300 divided by 0.05. Now let's go to our calculator. What is 300 divided by 0.05? Well, it's 6,000. Look at that. It's like on the dot. Like it's 6,000 rands on the dot. Indeed, it is enough. So you'd conclude answering this question by saying that, well, the statement or Joy's sister is correct. Joy's sister is indeed correct. Now let's move to the bottom one. Let's have a different color for this one. Mr. Tau received a contribution of 250 Canadian dollars from his son who works in Canada. Calculate the value of the contribution in rand if the exchange rate at the time was. So again, they gave us a conversion factor. That's where we start. That's where we start. Like that's where we always have to start. It says that 1 CAD is equals to 11.0555 rands. Now, what do we have or what are we converting? Well, we are converting 250 Canadian dollars. Are they on my left or on my right? They're on my left. Then let me put them there. CAD is equals to X. Why? Because I do not have the rands. That's what I'm looking for. What am I canceling? Well, as always, I cancel an X and I also have to cancel a 1. The numbers remaining are they across or on the same side they are across. When they're across, what do? I simply have to multiply. So it's going to be 250 multiplied by 11.055 and a 5. Let's go to our calculator and cancel. And let's say what is 200? Okay, 250 multiplied by 11.0555. And then let's see what we're getting. We are essentially getting that it's going to be 2,763.875. So it's a final answer. I can say it's 2,763.88. So that's how much it is. And now let's go to the last question. This one I added it because I was looking through the past question papers. Apparently I couldn't get the one which I was satisfied with in terms of the way it was outlined. So we can use, what can we use here? Looks like we haven't used the blue in quite some time. How about a blue? Calculate the volume of a bathtub in liters. Use the following dimensions. So the height is 60, width is 65, length is 150. Well, when we get to paper 2, most particularly when we are starting to talk about your cylinders, your volumes, and your diameters and your radius, you will even get even more understanding. So now the formula for volume, of which is something that they would usually give you, it's length times width times height. So now my length has been given as 150, and also I have my width has been given as 65. My height has been given as 60. Now what does this equal? So I have 150 that I have to multiply by 65 that I have to multiply by a 60. And then, I am getting 585,000 centimeter cubed. I'll also explain when I am doing paper 2 why is it a cube, but essentially it's simply because we multiplied a centimeter by another centimeter by another centimeter. Remember the top question, it said that in centimeter squared. The reason why it was centimeter squared is because we multiplied 2 centimeters. But now because it's 3, so this cube essentially tells us that this came from multiplying 1, 2, and 3. If it were 2, it was going to be a squared. So now the question said that it wants it in liters. This is centimeter cubed. It's not in liters. How do we get in liters? That's where this guy comes in. Now let's have this guy in red, right? In green. Why not green? Yes, green indeed. First, like I always say, conversion factor says that 1000 centimeter cubed is equal to 1 liter. This is more like it's more like metric to metric. So under 1000 centimeter cubed, I'm going to put this because it looks the same. See, it looks the same. So let's say 585,000 centimeter cubed. What do I put on my right? I put an X. Again, the cancellation method. X, don't care about you. 1. I'm sorry for saying I don't care about you. I meant X, not you. Anyways, because they are on the same side, we have to divide them. But again, as you already know, bottom by top. So now let's say 585,000 divide by 1000. What are we getting there? We can simply say divide by 1000. We are actually getting 5,805 liters. So that's it for this video. So now I'll leave a link to past question papers. Let me quickly outline this. You don't get to watch my videos and go write an exam. That's not how things work. You watch my videos, you go and practice, you learn hard, you study even harder, or you practice even harder. So my tutorials, they are just part of the equation. They are not the whole equation. You still have to go and practice through past question papers. That's why I will leave a link to mathematical literacy past question paper so that you can go and download them and also use what you have already known to make sure that you go and practice. Football players don't become stars by just watching other football players playing soccer. That's not how it works. They watch them, and after that, they run straight to the field of play and they practice what they have learned. Same as you. You don't watch my tutorials and after then you are a master or you are a star. Nope, that's not how things work. And maybe if some of my thumbnails are going to say master conversions or master something. No, that's not how it works. In order for you to master it, yes, you must watch the tutorials. After watching the tutorials, you go back and you practice, and therefore you will become a master at whatever it is that you're practicing. So yes, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. That's not a negotiation. Are we negotiating? No, we are not. Yes, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and also share. Thank you. Catch you in the next one.